There's a common perception that the United States spends a lot more on health care because it spends so much more on end-of-life care than other developed countries. So how does the U.S. compare to other nations? A new study examines several health care measures at the end of life for cancer patients in 5 European countries, Canada, and the United States.
This health tip is brought to you by
Desert View Hospital and Mountain Valley Physicians Group. Don't put your health on hold. We have time for you. Call us to schedule your appointment. 775-751-7100.
We know that end-of-life care is intensive. We know it's expensive. We know that still too many people are dying in the hospital, even today.
The United States is not the worst in end-of-life care, at least when it comes to cancer patients, nor is it the best.
Drs. Ezekiel Emanuel and Justin Beckelman from the University of Pennsylvania Perelman School of Medicine and co-authors compared the healthcare experience for cancer patients older than 65 in 6 countries and the U.S. in 2010. Those countries included Canada, Belgium, Germany, England, the Netherlands, and Norway. They examined several clinical measures 6 and 1 month before death.
The United States and the Netherlands had the lowest proportion of patients dying in the hospital.
About 22% of U.S. cancer patients died in hospitals, almost 30% in the Netherlands, and Belgium and Canada had just over 50% of patients die in the hospital.
We have the fewest hospitalizations, and we have the shortest number of hospital days of all patients.
The U.S. wasn't as expensive as we might have thought or might have predicted.
During the last 6 months of life, patients in Norway and Canada had higher hospital costs than patients in the U.S. There was less spending in Germany and Belgium, but the lowest expenditures were in the Netherlands and England. Both researchers note that there are areas where care can be improved for U.S. patients.
The United States has far and away the most patients who end up in the intensive care unit in the last 6 months of life. About 40% of patients actually end up in the intensive care unit. They spend the longest time of any country in the world. We also give a lot of chemotherapy to patients in the last 6 months of life.
A question is for our patients, if they wrote the chapter about their last 6 months or about their last month, would it resemble the findings that we're reporting? And I'll bet the answer is no. And that means that we have more work to do.
Catherine Dolph, The JAMA Report.
Now, the study helps set a baseline about how the United States and other countries can learn from each other in order to improve end-of-life care.
Susan Schaefer was arrested after a local woman reported numerous checks were written on her bank account and many online transfers were made without her approval, totaling about $16,200. Through investigation, it was found that the online transaction and fraudulent checks were associated with an account under the name of Paula Forbes in Crystal, Nevada. It was later found that the woman identified as Susan Schaefer through surveillance footage had been allegedly using fraudulent checks at Walmart since October of 2015. Schaefer was located at an address on Bourbon Street where a total of 67 other names, date of births, social security numbers, and banking information were found. Schaefer was charged with fraud and booked into the Nye County Sheriff's Office Detention Center.
The Oscars were held over the weekend. Let's get the rundown in your entertainment this week.
In your entertainment this week, at the 88th Academy Awards, spotlight the film about the Boston Globe investigation into sexual abuse by priests, won for Best Picture. Leonardo DiCaprio, heavily favored to win for lead actor, was not disappointed in his 5th chance to take home an Oscar for Best Actor. His director, Alejandro Iñárritu, had just gotten his 2nd directing win in a row for The Revenant. The film came into the night with the most nominations at 12 and won 3. Overall, Mad Max Fury Road has the most bragging rights with 6 statuettes from 10 nods in total. Brie Larson won Best Actress for her performance in the movie Room. The major upset of the evening was Sylvester Stallone's loss to Mark Rylance of Bridge of Spies for Best Supporting Actor. Host Chris Rock kicked off the 2016 Oscars with a highly anticipated monologue amid the #OscarsSoWhite controversy, taking multiple jabs at Hollywood's culture. When comedian Chris Rock took to the Dolby Theater stage to start the Oscars telecast Sunday night, the track Fight the Power by rap group Public Enemy played in the background. That same song, used by Spike Lee to cap his seminal film Do the Right Thing, also played at the end of the show as the credits rolled. Both instances were a reminder comedic or otherwise, to keep pushing for greater diversity. This was prompted by the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences list of mostly white nominees for a second year in a row. Fighting the power is what the hashtag Oscars So White movement plans to continue doing. While Lady Gaga went public in 2014 with her story of being raped, apparently not everyone in her family heard it. The singer has revealed that her grandmother and aunt did not know she was a survivor until her powerful Oscars performance Sunday night. She said her grandmother and her aunt Sherry both called her the day after the Oscars because she never told them that she was a survivor. At the Academy Awards, the superstar performed Till It Happens to You, the Oscar-nominated song she co-wrote with Diane Warren for The Hunting Ground, a CNN documentary about rape and assault on college campuses. Vice President Joe Biden introduced Gaga's performance, and she was joined on stage by other survivors. The emotional moment moved many in the audience. Girls creator Lena Dunham takes issue with a Spanish magazine cover that she claims has more than the average Photoshop. Tentacion magazine features Dunham in a white dress on the cover, and according to her Instagram post, is not what her body has ever looked like or will ever look like. She told the magazine to be honest to their readers. On Tuesday, magazine bosses published an open letter to the TV star on a Spanish newspaper website, insisting they had not digitally retouched the picture. There have been recent comments that the original photographer who took the shot retouched it before giving it to the magazine. I am Alicia Cook, and that is your entertainment this week.
And as we head into our break, here's this week's trivia question about KPVM TV.
Do you know KPVM? How much money did KPVM raise in 2001 during their special telethon? A, $15,000, B, $25,000, C, $10,000, D, $20,000. We'll be back right after this with the right answer.